it had a mirrored top, and lights, and it was really a big girl's bed. But obviously, it was an intriguing little bed for a little girl because it was all fur. And so Linda's dog Foxu posed with Lisa, and she had her little toenails done and her little ring on and her little pajama, and she had one of the shots, the close-up shot, she cocked her little head, just like her mom. I mean, she had that picture perfect quality about it. It was.
And her father loved her.
Oh my goodness, nothing could please him more. I mean, he just worshipped that little girl. He really did. He was a wonderful father too. But I had a tendency to spoil her. Like I said, got her expensive little things, and of course Priscilla, felt like she wasn't old enough to appreciate it, which she had a point. But she was funny because she also went in my makeup case and she said I want all of this, and because she wanted me to put a little lip gloss on and all this, and I said, honey, I said you better talk to your mom or your dad. I said because if he wants you to have it, you can have it. Okay, and so that was all that was to that. But the cutest thing was when we got a chance to go sliding. There was like an ice storm when I was there, and that just doesn't happen in snow. And so Lisa was afraid to go down the hill in Graceland in the front there because she had never done this before. So I said, come on, be fine, come with me. So she got on the sled with me, and then she was fine. And then she started doing it on her own, and so that was a lot of fun. And then after, toward the nighttime, before it was probably almost dusk, it was just me and Elvis and Linda, and we took a walk outside, and you had to picture this, Joe, all ice all over the trees, and and me walking in back of Elvis and Linda, and they're holding hands, and I'm thinking to myself, this is not happening. I mean, I am here at Graceland at Christmas, walking with Elvis and Linda outside, in this magical winter wonderland. And I will never forget. I remember just looking up at the sky and saying, "Thank you, God," because I can't even imagine, that anybody couldn't be, ecstatic and grateful and thankful that this is happening to them. Let alone me.
I never really got to ask you, were you an Elvis fan?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, my goodness. Yes. Oh, yes. I was one of those in the 60s that went to the theater and would drool, sit there and drool. And I remember the movie Spin Out. I had seen it at the drive-in, okay, and we double dated in those days, it was the innocent days. And I was this little innocent girl. And so my date was trying to kiss me. And here's Elvis on the screen kissing Shelley Fabre and Deborah Wally and Diane McBain in Spin Out. And he's hearing wedding bells, okay?
Right.
And I'm hearing bells thinking, I want that to be me. And so I said to my date years later, I saw him and mentioned this. And so I said, you see that guy up there? I said, someday, I'm going to get a kiss from him, or I'm going to get a kiss. And it obviously happened, but I just wanted to basically discourage him by saying this, and it worked. But not really believing this was going to happen, but for some reason I felt the connection.
Wow.
I'm very perceptive anyway, but I still didn't think I was going to be lucky enough to actually meet him. But I did feel like, wow, it's exciting to dream that you're one of the girls in the movies with him. So to be his secretary and to get to be his girlfriend's best friend and to become a friend of his through that experience is really an honor.
What did you think of the first concert that you saw when he came out on stage?
Oh, like a second coming, like everyone says, with the cameras and the lights, and you can't breathe because the noise is just, mind-boggling. And here I was, Linda and I actually sat, instead of sitting on the side of the stage back then, because this was in New York, and so we sat in the audience. And, of course, she had this stunning stunning outfit on, and 4 rings on each finger, and everybody, I think, knew who she was, but I couldn't breathe. I was very nervous because, I said, wow, this is mind-boggling. And then everybody kind of calmed down, but it still was unbelievable. And I said, this man, I mean, his talent was incomparable. I always knew this. And it was totally different in Vegas. It was a little bit more calmer, but also a lot of fun, and the fans just went crazy. And his sense of humor, and he just had the fans in the palm of his hand. He really did. And that magnetism, he was extraordinary. He was, and that charisma, unbelievable.
So he sucked the air right out of the concert hall.
Oh, he did. He really did. I mean, we all know that. And, I mean, everybody knows, too, when, he would walk into a room and your back was to him, you knew it. You knew he was there because of the aura in the room. And I know that he, was a gift from God to us, and that we should be grateful that we had him as long as we did. Obviously, we all still wish he was here. But for whatever reason, Jesus wanted him. Jesus wanted him. And he loved Jesus, believe me. And he used to read to all of us from the Bible and his religious, books. And he was so into all this.
Well, do you feel he was searching for something, that he was looking at all these different religions and that? Or?
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely. He was very friendly with Larry Geller. And he was always searching.
I talked to Larry a lot.
Yeah, talking to Larry a lot. I don't think I ever met Larry.
Oh, no?
And Larry, and I would have liked to have met him. He sounded very, very serene gentleman, and sounded very kind, and I can understand why Elvis liked him. But I think it scared everybody. The Colonel and Mr. Presley and everybody. I know Linda had mentioned it, that the Colonel, was on his back, because he didn't want him to get into this religious kick, because he felt that he wasn't concentrating on the tours and everything else, and he was going, I think, crazy with money at that particular time and all this. But no, I think he was searching. But I know he believed in Jesus. It's not like he was believing in something other than Jesus. But I just think that he felt that he was given this gift, and he couldn't understand why. He always said, the classic, why me?
Right.
So I think, he was searching. And I think he found it. I think he, I think Jesus took him home. I think he did. And,
I've had others say that he knew that he was going to die young. Did he ever say anything like that to you?
He never said anything like that to me. I'm not sure if he said that to Linda, to be honest with you. I talked to her so much about this, but I don't think he really thought he was going to die that young. I don't know if he thought he was going to be an old man. I think that's maybe the gist of what I'm getting. But
he was afraid of getting old?
Was he afraid of getting old?
Yeah. Some people say that,
Yeah, I never heard it. I think naturally when he started to gain the weight, I think he was very self-conscious. Oh, yes.
Bothered him a lot?
I think that's why I never tried to take another picture, because I was one, for some reason, he trusted me. He allowed me to take all these pictures without a Polaroid camera. I mean, he posed me on tour with Lisa Marie and Linda. It looks like a family portrait.
Yeah.
I don't think he's ever done that with anybody. I have never seen a picture like that in any book.
Yeah, he was very trusting of you. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, I'm flattered, but I don't know about that. I really don't know how he felt about living, to an old age or anything like that. But I know, he was self-conscious, and I never would have believed that he'd want a picture taken when he was overweight like that. So I didn't even ask.
Yeah.
Didn't even ask.
Did you ever get a chance to really sit down and do a one-on-one with him? Many times?
Conversation?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, especially, well, the famous story was when I stayed there at Christmas, and I was coming out of Lisa Marie's room, and the door to his bedroom was open, and he's sitting there in bed, and the TV wasn't on, and he's just sitting there, and he looked tired, and Linda was in the bathroom, and somebody had sent a blown-up picture of that famous picture of him and when he was, 3 years old, with his little hat on.
Mm-hmm.
He was with his mother and father. They cut off his father. It was, and because they knew he really loved his mother, and I guess sent it to him of his mom and him blown up. So I looked at it, and I just said, "Hi, Elvis." I said, "Oh," and I looked at the picture, and I said, "What do you think of the picture that was sent?" And he said, "Oh," he said, "I really like it." And I said, "You must really miss your mother." He said, "Yeah." And he started to tell the story about when she died.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, how he was in the service, and he was in Germany, and he came home and saw her right before she died, and of course was called when she died in the night, and he was, just so beyond upset. And then when he went back to Germany, he said he was up in his Jeep, up in the mountains, and he yelled, "Mama, Mama." But when he said, "Mama, Mama," the lights flickered. Like when he said "Mama," and then they came back on, and then it flickered when he said "Mama" again.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just looked at him and looked around and went, "What the heck is this?" And then Linda came flying out of the bathroom and said, "What the hell is going on?" And I said, "You don't even want to know."
So when he said "Mama, Mama," the lights
went out, flickered.
in Graceland.
And so we were told, and I know this to be true. I really believe this, Joe, and a lot of people have said this. If you read the books, that Graceland was haunted. That Graceland had his mother's presence. She walked around the halls, because when I tried to go to sleep, when Elvis went out of town and Linda was so used to staying up all night, and I had to work at the office in the morning, I wanted to go to bed at a decent hour to get up at 7 to go to work for 9. So I would go up and try to go to sleep by myself upstairs, and I heard this swishing noise, like water, or this swishing and noises, and I couldn't sleep. I said, "No way, I'm out of here," and I would go back downstairs and fall asleep on the couch until Linda was ready to come up. There was no way I was going up there by myself. It just gave me the creeps. So when Linda came out and said, "What is going on?" I just felt like that was his mother.
Yeah.
That was his mother.
Did Elvis ever say that?
No, but you know something? He didn't blink an eyelash. He knew, I think, too, that his mom was there.
Nancy Rooks says the same thing,
Who said it?
Nancy Rooks says the same thing.
Yes, she did.
Yeah.
Yes, she did, because when I talked to Jim Cox about it, I said I had the same experience. And I think others have said the same thing. Well, the maids have told me. The maids are the ones that told me. They said, his mother is walking around here.
Mm-hmm.
and so I definitely think that. But yeah, he didn't think anything about it. But I definitely think that was his mother. That was a sign from his mother.
Yeah.
He looked so sad, Joe, when he was talking about it. So sad. You could tell he really missed her. I mean, the love that he had for his mother, amazing.
If only she had lived longer.
Yeah. To witness some of that. But I wonder. I really think she was so worried about him. If she had lived to be really, really old and had seen some of the destruction that he was doing to himself, I think it would have killed her.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have killed her,
yeah.
because I think she loved him so much. But then again, I wonder if she had lived to be an old woman, maybe she would have had more influence,
mm-hmm.
and maybe that wouldn't have happened. But none of us know that.
Well, you seen what was going on with Elvis. What did you think to yourself? Did you say something's not right here? Did you know something was wrong with Elvis?
Oh yeah. You could sense it, and Linda did tell me, and of course it's in the book.
Uh-huh.
And then they did that movie Elvis and the Beauty Queen.
Uh-huh.
Stephanie Zimbalist played Linda, and they had an actress play me, and then Don Johnson played Elvis, and it was done in 81.
Mm-hmm.
And she tells me that he's doing these pills, and she doesn't know how to handle it because they're trying. Dr. Nick did try to help. The guys did try. She told me all this, but he was going to get these pills by hook or crook,
uh-huh.
because he had the power, and he was very cunning. He could get anything he wanted. Look how he met the president. That's such a funny story.
Mm-hmm.
I read it in so many books, and it's amazing you know, how he was. He could just accomplish anything.
Did anybody try to help him or help him stop?
I know Linda did, and she told me, you know, Dr. Nick, how he would give him a pink sugar pill instead of something else to try to fool him, and he knew, but you know, and the guys, I know they tried to help, I do, but you know, some people probably say not enough. I don't know if I believe that, because I think that he could con anybody into anything, and so if he didn't get it from you, he was going to get it from somebody else. There's no question about it. Yeah, unfortunately. Because
he felt he was sick, or he would, I mean, because I knew he took sleeping pills, because he never slept well, right?
Right. So obviously, by taking the sleeping pills, I mean, he was addicted to them in the service, from what they say. And so, from taking them, and he used to sleepwalk. Did he? When he was a kid, yeah, they said he was a sleepwalker.
Did he ever do it when he was older?
Elvis Presley, pardon me?
Did he ever sleepwalk while he was older?
No, I don't, because of the pills. I think that's probably why he went on the pills in the beginning, was partly the reason. But can you picture Elvis Presley sleepwalking and you know, walking down the street? Wouldn't that be fun?
See, but he started other pills because some doctors said that he needed to. So what was wrong with Elvis? What was physically wrong with him?
See, I know he just had the insomnia problem and the sleepwalking, and that's all I know. And I guess that's why they put him on the pills. And with all the pressure he was under, I mean, my God, I know even myself, if I feel like I've got a lot of stress or something, yeah, sometimes you have to take a Tylenol PM.
Right.
So I can just imagine the pressure that Elvis was under, and then of course not being able to wake up in the morning and maybe having these calls, you know, when he was doing the movies and all. Yeah, he'd have to probably take something to wake him up. So it was a vicious cycle, and that's how the whole thing started. And then, of course, he liked, I think, the feeling of some of these things, and he, you know, started to read about it, and he figured, okay, if I can get a prescription, if I can, you know, get someone to give me a prescription, it's legal.
Right. If a doctor says it's okay, yeah.
Yeah, then it's not being a drug addict or it's not like I'm getting them on the street or anything. You know, the poor thing. You know, like I said, there were no Betty Ford centers. There was nobody to help him in that regard.
Right.
So I feel you know, so bad that it was before he was born too soon for all this. You know, it's just too bad and so sad. But my God, I wish he was still here. I mean, I think of him almost every day.
Yeah,
you know,
I do.
How can you not?
I've never met the man, and he's a part of my life every day.
Yeah, just like all the Elvis fans, everybody that's, you know, Andrew Hearn from England, I'm close to him, and I did an interview for him, and
I do interviews for Andrew for Essential Elvis.
Oh, he's wonderful. He's absolutely wonderful, and you guys never met him, but look at what you're doing for him.
Yeah.
All the fans are keeping his memory alive. And God bless you. I've got to thank you all, you know, for this, because it's because of you that he's still alive in our minds and in our hearts. He'll never go away.
How did you hear, Jeannie, that he passed away?
Actually, I was working. I was a supervisor in a restaurant here in Rhode Island, and my sister called me, my younger sister, not my twin, and Eileen, and she said, "Jeannie, did you hear? Did you see on the news or something like that?" She just said, "Did you hear yet?" So I'm thinking something in my family naturally, and I went, "What?" And she said, "Elvis is dead." And I went, "What?" And she said, "Yeah," she said, "it's all over the news," she said, and I said, "How did it happen?" She said, I don't know, I don't know. And so I couldn't speak. I just dropped the phone. One of the waiters came up, he needed change, and I couldn't speak, and he said, "What's the matter?" And I said, "Elvis is dead." And he said, and he called the manager over right away, and he just said, he says, "Get her in the back room." He says, "Right now." So I went in the back room, and I just absolutely couldn't even cry, couldn't speak, couldn't do anything. I was totally flabbergasted and shocked at this whole thing. And And then later on, they sent me home, and later on, the lady that was directing my pageant called the radio station and told them, and they called me at 12 midnight, and I was on the air from 12 to 3 o'clock in the morning talking to the fans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and trying to calm everybody down. And
did Linda call you?
No, Linda didn't call. And I didn't call her right away because I knew going through this with the funeral, of course. And I was just getting beeped. We might have to cut that because the phone is beeping. I don't know if you can hear that.
No.
Yeah. So I basically heard that, from my sister, and I just didn't call her until a couple days, later.
And so you didn't go to the funeral?
No, I didn't go to the funeral because I knew it was just going to be pure chaos.
Yeah.
And and oh my God, what a mess! It was just unbelievable. And of course, Linda went, and it was sad. But she said the lights. Of course, Lisa Marie. Everyone knows Lisa Marie called her.
Right.
And, she threw the phone down. She says, "My daddy's dead. My daddy's dead." But Lisa said the lights had gone out. Linda said the lights had gone out, and we know that we believe that spirits play with electricity.
Exactly.
I've heard this many, and we still talk about that to this day, just like when the lights flickered when he said, "Mama, Mama."
Uh-huh.
And so she said her lights had gone out.
The lights had went out in Graceland?
Had gone out. Linda was in her apartment in L.A.
Uh-huh.
And so when Lisa called her and told her that her father had died, the lights had gone out.
Oh, my goodness.
It was right before that. I think it was right before she called, the lights had gone out.
Uh-huh.
But isn't that weird?
Yeah.
It was so strange. And that's when she said, that, we really believe that's what happened.
I got just a few other little quick questions for you because you've been very good. And what'd you think of the Colonel? Do you have any run-ins with the Colonel?
I met the Colonel briefly on tour. He was just walking by. Of course, he was always in a hurry, it seemed, running around. And they said, "Jeannie, this is the Colonel." And, I think at the time, I wasn't working from at the time. That was on the tour in the beginning. So they just said, "This is Jeannie, Linda's friend." And he just said hi. So that's all I really know about the Colonel.
And that was it. I
never knew him personally, and I've read a lot of books, and of course, there's a lot of people liked him, a lot of people didn't like him.
Yeah. What did Elvis think of him?
Toward the end, they had their differences because of that thing with the movie, with A Star Is Born. He felt like that was his only shot.
Uh-huh.
To really do a good movie and to showcase his talent. And, everybody says, the guys, of course, were around him a lot more than I was. And Linda told me how disappointed he was, and he felt like that was his only opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really depressed him. I do. And I think that was one of the reasons for the decline in his health.
Uh-huh.
And also the tours and his health wasn't the greatest.
Right.
So I think that he was pushed to do these things. He was committed, but he was spending money like crazy.
Was he?
And the Colonel probably had to do this because and I know his father tried to tell him. From what Linda said. So, but he didn't care, Joe. He did not care. It's like, I think he felt like you can't take it with you. And, of course, he couldn't take it with him.
Right.
And money, like he said, money, only makes you happy when you can share it like that.
Mm-hmm.
He was the most generous person. Giving gifts to complete strangers, donating to all these charitable causes.
And a lot of people don't know that.
People don't know the half of it.
Yeah.
They don't know the half of it.
Yeah.
And, we'll never understand. Throwing jewels in the audience, whatever. It's amazing, the stories.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely amazing. Everybody knows, too, that when I was there, too, it was written up when he was looking at Cadillacs, and this black lady, was just standing there, and she said something like, "Nice car," or something. And he said, "You like that?" He says, "Well, it's yours." And then she turned around, from what I understand, and said something like, "Oh, it's my birthday too." So he wrote her a check for $2,500
plus the car.
Yeah.
Wow.
So this was nothing to him. This was nothing. So he definitely had the best qualities.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, I just think that, you know, we were so lucky.
Yeah.
So lucky that we had him, and I wish he was still here.
Do you remember any?
I know he's in a good place. Okay.
Do you remember any threats on his life or anything like that?
Not when I was there. No. I think it was a little bit before my time. I think. I forgot which year it was. I know it's written about.
Mm-hmm. When did you start with Elvis?
In '74. Met him in.
Oh, so you missed the Aloha event.
Yes, I did. I watched it on TV here in Rhode Island. Yes, I did. But boy, I just watched that show, and it took my breath away.
Uh-huh.
Of course, I wish I was there on the '68 special too. That would have been something.
Yeah. What do you think of the everlasting popularity of Elvis Presley?
Oh, you know, I'm not surprised, and but what intrigues me is the little kids. You know, 9 years old that email me and say, my grandmother or my grandfather got me hooked on Elvis, and you know, this is, they're not even around anymore, and I still adore him, and you know, and they imitate him,
Mm-hmm.
and they collect things, and they want pictures, and it's mind-boggling. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised because he's incomparable. There's no one like him, and you know, everyone knows his name. I mean, there isn't anybody. Just like they say, if you just put Elvis, this is what we used to always say in the office. If you just put Elvis on an envelope, it'll get there.
Right.
Okay, and so everybody knows who Elvis Presley is and Mickey Mouse is. Everybody knows that, but especially Elvis because you know, entertainer of the century.
Yeah.
And he will live on forever and ever because of your fans.
Yeah.
There's no word about it.
So, Jeannie, what are you doing now?
So I'm in sales. I'm married, and you know, and we have you know, a house here in Rhode Island, a house in Florida. So we go there for the winter,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, I haven't seen Linda. I'm hoping to see Linda. Of course, I'm going to be in Memphis during Elvis Week. I'm doing book signings.
Mm-hmm.
Jim Cox, my co-writer, will be there. I'm going to be with Sandy Pishon.
Oh, I know Sandy.
Yes, and Sandy has been very, very, we're best friends. We talk almost every day. She's been very helpful with my book, and she's also got a book coming out, Photos from the Heart, a brand new book.
Yeah.
And then, so we're going to be doing book signings together at Dolan Street, and we're also going to go to some other events. I'm going to be a guest speaker at Bill Burke's Elvis World Magazine on the 13th, and we're also going to a charity event where there's going to be a lot of the Elvis people there, and I'm still we're trying to work something out with Andrew. Hopefully I'll get to meet him because I haven't met him yet. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's going to be wonderful.